One of my favorite parts about going on vacation and trip planning is planning what book I'm going to read on the trip. Sometimes I'm really obsessed with a certain story or series, so I'm obviously gonna wanna read that. But other times I try to pick books that fit the aesthetic or the vibe, kind of manifest what I want the trip to feel like.
So while planning for our family trip to Colorado, I already knew I wanted to go to a ton of bookstores. And I thought, why not also try to challenge myself to read for 24 hours on family vacation? And we're staying in the perfect place to attempt this challenge in, because this house is the type of setting that is written about in books.
There are only a few days left on family vacation, so I have literally no time to waste if I'm trying to get in 24 hours. So let's start reading immediately. Oh, by the way, I'm Melizza, and this is my channel. 24 hours, well, I was gonna say 24 hours on the clock, but 0 hours on the clock, 24 to go. Ali Hazelwood's Bride. Place to wear it, honestly. Sorry if it's like really echoey in here. The ceilings are at least 2 times as tall as they normally are in my house. Speaking of tall beamed ceilings, the first book I am reading during my 24-hour cozy reading challenge here on family vacation is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and this is actually one of the books that I picked up in a Denver bookstore. That is a different video. I don't know which one's going up first, but there is going to be a video on Denver bookstores, and you should watch it so you can see the rest of the books that I have gotten. This is only one day, and I have at least 2 more days of book shopping before I try to fly these all back to Florida. I don't know what Ali Hazelwood puts in her coffee, but this girl has so much energy. She released this book in February. She released a book just this month, her summer like rom-com. I think it's back in that like academia universe. And she announced another book coming out in February 2025. But I have read a lot of Ali Hazelwood's like academia universe. They kind of ignited that spark in me to want to read more rom-com books. And so I wanted to see how she would handle the fantasy realm. She does it well. So far. This is such a cute little book. But I'm a little over 100 pages in, but it's still like quirky, fun. At least the narrator's voice is still like quirky, fun Ali Hazelwood writing, and I genuinely enjoy it. It's a very easy read, easy to follow along. The story starts very quickly, and I find myself wanting to keep turning the pages and keep reading because I just love the world that they're in, which let me break it down for you. Our main character is a vampire. Her name is Misery Lark. The name is very much fitting for this girl. She has quite literally been collateral damage in her like vampire society. She's basically sacrificed her life for the peace of this society unwillingly, just because she was a child and she was told to do so. And that has escalated into an arranged marriage between her and the new alpha of the Wares, which is like the werewolf species in this book. And he's dark and brooding and all of the things we love in a fantasy romance. The story is told through her POV, but each of the chapters has, oh my gosh, what is the little thing called at the beginning of the chapter where there's a little bit of words and it kind of like gives you epilepsy? It's gotta be an epitaph. I gotta look this up, it's gonna bother me. An epitaph is the inscription on a tombstone. Still kind of with the vibe. But an epigraph is a brief quotation set at the beginning of a text to suggest its theme. All of that to say, there are epigraphs in the beginning of each chapter. They don't give his POV, but they kind of sum up his feelings or give you a little bit of insight to what he may be feeling, or give you a hint of information so that you can infer how he is feeling while we are following her in the story. And I think that's a fun little touch. It's kind of like not fully committing to the dual POV. It is also not 100% about the romance. Our main character, Misery, does have her own reasons for agreeing to the marriage in the first place, and it's a bit of a mystery, so that is a fun element to this book as well. I think that adds to the reasonings why I don't want to stop reading it. This house is full of cozy corners to read in, like this one, and I say we find one and start reading.
When I turn up, you get going. At every stop, baby, oh, it's showing. If I should stay, you find a reason to leave. When I'm busy, that's the time you are free. Just tell me, what should I do? How can I get through? Oh, how can I get through? How can I get through? Tell me, baby, please.
We are breakfast full. We're reminded of what home feels like because we went to Target, and now we're outside of Barnes & Noble because I can't help myself and I want to go inside. But before we do, I'm gonna give you some of my thoughts on Bride because I am officially over halfway. You can see where my bookmark is. I'm over halfway through, and I'm 6 hours, 28 minutes into 24 hours of cozy reading on family vacation, which I'm honestly already shocked about because that's a lot of reading. That's a lot of time to squeeze in between like activities and actual relaxation because this is vacation, but lucky for me, reading is relaxation. Anyways, Bride. Let's get into it because I'm on page 226, the beginning of chapter 18. In the last 20 pages, we've just gotten to like the beginning wafts of spice that everybody talks about in this book. So honestly, great for me because that's not really what I read books for. I can take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter to me whether or not it's in the book. And it doesn't seem like the main focus of the story, which is Big ups for me, because the way that everybody on Book Talk was talking about this book, I really thought this was just a sex book. I'm so serious. But so far, it's pretty clean. The fantasy element and the fact that it's written by Ali Hazelwood were the two main reasons why I read it anyways. I think the reason why we like Ali Hazelwood books is because she's really good at writing, like the banter, the back and forth, and who doesn't love an enemies to lovers vampire werewolf rivalry with some human ambition sprinkled in. And remember how I mentioned the epigraphs? I feel like they really help move the story along. It is kind of slowing down a little bit, so I'm expecting a climax in the next, like, I don't know, 30 pages, because we're kind of getting to that end point right here, and this is where stuff goes down. But yeah, the epigraphs are actually helpful because I feel like I am learning what the male main character Lo is like thinking, or at least feeling, and that really like ties up a lot of loose ends. I do want to say that the plot twist, I don't know because we haven't gotten to the reveal yet, but I feel like the plot twist is pretty predictable. Like, I'm just waiting for it to be revealed, and I'm 99% sure we know what it is, but I don't know if she's writing that way on purpose because something bigger is in store for the story, or if that's just how the story goes, which honestly, if that's how the story goes, I'm still not mad at it. Right now, I think I want to rate this between a 3.5 and a 4. I'm not done yet, so we'll see where we land, but it's giving 3.5, 4 stars as of right now. We will see. I have a lot of faith in Ali Hazelwood. I really, really like her other books. I want to really, really like this book because it's a romantasy. So, fingers crossed. I believe in you, girl. I'm mostly going in here because I really need a book light. I didn't pack the one that I have, but it's okay because I kind of don't like the one that I have, and this gives me an excuse to look for another one. I'm not gonna try to buy a book because I'm trying to buy a lot of my books from like local or like indie bookstores while we're here, but if something calls to me, who am I to deny it? I have actually heard. I like buy one, get one 50. Croissant and pretzel look like. This is like heavy duty. It's like a big boy. There's one, like really baby, the really tiny book light. This one's so cute. Ooh, it's bright. It's bright, it's bright, but I got one. Wear these for the entire clip. I feel like it's so distracting, but it is such a bright summer day right now. Fun fact, because I'm quite literally up in the air. Hold on, Austin says to get, oh my God, there's a deer in the backyard. Guys, I'm so serious. Okay, that's insane. Oh my God, he just jumped the fence. Oh my gosh, that was so crazy. There was literally just a deer in the backyard. It's just so magical. Like, it just makes me realize how much I'm not in nature normally, like, or I'm in like simulated Disney World nature, because this is crazy. I'm flabbergasted every time I like look out and see that. I truly can't believe it. It's just so beautiful and so different than what I'm used to in Florida. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. Okay, anyways, I'm glad I came out here. I don't know how long I'm gonna last out here. We are over a mile in the air, altitude-wise, which means I'm physically closer to the sun than usual. So it's not as hot, like it's not Florida heat, but it's not that fun either. I'm gonna get comfy out here, maybe see some more nature. We've been seeing so many hummingbirds. They're just running rampant up here as I try to finish Allie Hazelwood's Bride. I think I can finish it today. It's only like 400 pages and I'm a little over 220 something done. It's more of a chill day here at the house, so I think I have plenty of time to read, to get working towards that 24-hour cozy reading goal. I'm trying to be quiet because I don't want to scare him, but the deer that we thought ran away is literally laying in the grass like right there. I'll have to use my iPhone to get a closer shot, but it's literally like I'm reading with a deer. Like that is so whimsical, so magical. I love it. It's so cool. I'm just so excited. I don't know. This is just bringing out such a happiness in me. The dopamine is through the roof in the mountains. It's so cool. Hello. We did have a busier day yesterday. We ended up driving like 2 hours away to ride a train through the mountains. It was honestly magnificent. I've had so much fun seeing the nature on this trip. Like, it just really is giving me an appreciation for trees and like crisp air. And that might sound wild to some of you, but I am from a literal swamp where we don't even want to be outside for most of the year. So the fact that I'm just enjoying being outside, the fact that I'm wearing pants and sitting outside willingly is just so un-Floridian of me, and I love it. We also drove up into the mountains. Like, we passed some really high altitude towns and went to the bookstore at the highest elevation, which is also in that bookstore shopping vlog. I am so excited. It's almost like a landmark of sorts for bookstores. It's so cool. Anyways, while I haven't had a ton of time to read during the day, I was reading at night and I did finish Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This book is a prime example of do your own research, at least for me, because I just feel like the spice was so hyped up in this book when it first came out. That's all anyone was talking about, which led me to think that this was a super spicy book and that I wouldn't have a lot of interest in reading it. But I was wrong. But for one of my first, I think, paranormal romances, I liked her. And I think that this book was set up for the universe to continue. So long story short, I would keep reading this series from Ali Hazelwood. So a little time check. This is our last full day. Yeah, less than 24 hours until we're going to be on our way to the airport at least. We might be boarding the flight by now. I have less than 24 hours here in Colorado and only 11 hours, 52 minutes read. There are also a couple of bookstores that I want to go to today, which is gonna eat into our time. We have to pack, but I believe I might just get up early in the morning and do a little cozy morning mountain read. As much as I love escapism, the reality is I have to figure out how to read for 12 hours with like 24 hours left. Good luck to me, but let me tell you what I will be reading. I started Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute last night, directly after finishing Bride. This is a YA young adult British, which I didn't know until I started getting into the book. British teen romance, I guess, little rom-com, and so far it is adorable. I'm gonna read you the summary or the backity back. Could you brave the wilderness with your highly suspicious and unfairly cute ex-best friend? Bradley Graham is pretty much perfect. He's a star football player, manages his OCD well enough, and comes out on top in all his classes, except the ones he shares with Celine Bangura. They used to be best friends until Brad decided he was too cool for conspiracy theory obsessed Celine and literally abandoned her for the popular kids table. Boo, Brad. At least, that's how Celine sees it. These days, Brad hates her guts and the feeling is mutual. So when Celine signs up for a 2-part survival course in the woods, she definitely doesn't expect to find Brad right beside her. Forced to work together for the chance to win the grand prize, Celine and Bradley must trudge through not just mud and dirt, but their messy past. That was cute. I liked that sentence. As this adventure brings them closer, they start to remember all the good parts of their history, but has too much time passed or just enough to spark a whole new kind of relationship? Can I tell you something that I really think was just funny? It made me hee hee ha ha chuckle when I started reading this book, is that Talia Hibbert, the author of this book, she is British, so she includes a glossary of terms in the book that her and her editor thought wouldn't translate seamlessly from like American English to British English, because you know we all have our own slang depending on where you live or your culture, and some of these were so funny. Like, to me, the British language just sounds so proper. Like, she has Boots, a Nottinghamshire-based international pharmacy and beauty retailer. Go there for your prescription, your makeup, hair products, photos, baby stuff, lunchtime snacks, Christmas gifts, everything but the kitchen sink, really. Needs must, a phrase that allows you to get away with essentially anything. Oh well, needs must. But also allows people to make you do essentially anything. Get on with it. Needs must. Oxbridge. The words Oxford and Cambridge smushed together, convenient for those who have applied to both highly prestigious universities, equally convenient for those who are slagging off said universities and don't want to waste their breath on extra syllables. I think that kind of gives you an insight to some of her tone throughout the book. It's very quirky, it's upbeat, it's fun, it's rooted in more reality than my vampire werewolf romance book. Which kind of gives my mind a clean slate of new world to sink itself into. I'm on chapter 3, page 31, and it's cute because there are little like text messages and the font's not too tiny. So I think this is gonna be a fast read, and I am going to try to finish her on this travel reading vlog. I believe in us. I think we can do it. the last time from our cozy mountain home in Colorado. I'm so tired, oh my gosh. Our last morning in Colorado, I'm so tired because we kind of packed in a lot of the things that we wanted to do in the last couple of days. I'm gonna miss the sound of the birds, oh my gosh. So a last few busy days, and I stayed up last night to finish packing to make sure my suitcase wasn't over the weight limit and making sure all of my books could fit in a carry-on, which, pro tip, I always pack a duffel bag in my checked bag on my way to wherever I'm going, because I know myself well enough to know that I'm gonna want some kind of souvenir, maybe a couple souvenirs, maybe some gifts from my friends and family. I expect that I'm going to accumulate something when I go anywhere. So that's what I was doing last night, and once I finished all that, I stayed up to finish reading Highly Suspicious in... What is the second part? Oh my gosh, I need to go get the book, sorry. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, and I'm going to be saving my final thoughts, and we'll talk about the audiobook that I just started. And let's address the big thing here, the 24-hour reading challenge. So this morning I had 17 and a half, I think, hours on my timer. We need to get to 24, and I'm kind of thinking it could be tight. But if I listen to this audiobook throughout the travel day, like getting to the airport, on the plane, I think I may be able to get really close to 24 hours by the time we land and or get to where we need to be in Florida. So we'll see. Book thoughts and an update on whether or not I read for 24 hours. Let's start with Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. I did end up finishing this book before getting on the plane, slay. And if I had to sum up this book in one word, I would say amusing. It's a good switch up from my normal fantasy and or young adult rom-com. They are not adults, they are teenagers. And it was actually kind of refreshing to read a teen romance. More of a light-hearted situation. I'm not going to spoil any of the books, so don't be worried about that. This was dual POV, and I remember kind of touching on that a little bit with Bride and her using the epigraphs, but this is fully dual POV, and that is both something I like and something I don't like about it. I like it because I don't read a lot of dual POV romances, and it's fun to get the male side for once. But on the other hand, I just don't think that his POV was written differently enough in tone for me to enjoy it as much. Of course, the section starts with whoever's talking, so it'll say Brad or Celine, but I kind of feel like Brad and Celine's voices were not different enough. Definitely in the beginning when my brain was still adjusting to her writing style, it was difficult. I would have to keep checking wait, who just said that again? Who am I reading from? And it really doesn't get any better throughout the book. I kind of feel like I'm just hearing two parts of the same person's brain, which makes sense because there's only one author on this book, and that is a true statement. But in the fictional realm, I would have loved just a little bit more differentiation because they're written like two completely different characters, frenemies who were once best friends and now kind of hate each other at the beginning. So that was my one qualm. But overall, very amusing book, lighthearted. The Wilderness was a great read for Colorado. It made me never want to go in the wilderness because I'm not prepared to handle any of that. I also really liked that Brad has OCD. So it was a bit of a learning experience to hear his thoughts and feelings and the way that he perceived whatever situation that they found themselves in. It definitely gave me a little bit more of an understanding of what OCD could be like. And that's one thing I love about books. That's why representation in books is so important to me and should be to you, because now I can just have a little bit more insight on what it may be like to live with OCD. And so I really appreciate that, and I love that it's in a teen romance. We will talk final ratings in just a second, but I also want to give you an update on that audiobook. And here's where we need to have a very serious conversation. I'm just kidding. It's not that serious, but I do want to know your opinion. So I started Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead, which is the second in the Finlay series. I started reading the first one during my very first 24-hour reading challenge. So if you've seen that video, I decided to give you a little update on the series in this one. And one of the biggest things that this book taught me has nothing to do with the plot. This audiobook really solidified my preference for the types of books that I like to listen to, the types of books that I like to read in physical copy, and the type of books that I like to read on my Kindle. Those are all very different categories to me, and I feel like other people are out there that feel that way as well. I think that the Finlay Donovan series is something that I'm going to have to read on my Kindle because that's where I started reading it. But to be fully honest with you, I think I'm gonna DNF the audiobook. I know. It actually makes me kind of sad. I don't love DNFing books, but I'm also not afraid to do it when I'm no longer having a good time. It could be because when I read this on my Kindle, I kind of imagined my own voices for the characters, but it just wasn't hitting the same for me, and it made it kind of hard to listen to. And this leads me into the 24-hour reading goal. I think I ended up landing with having 20 hours read, which is so good. 20 out of 24? Let's see if I do the math. Yep, spectacular. That's an A. So I'm really proud of myself for that one, and I think that this is a great time to point out, like, a goal is just a goal. It's never really that serious. The point of reading and doing these reading vlogs with you is so that we can all learn to love reading together, we can all enjoy it together, and it's not enjoyable if my only focus is to make myself read for a certain amount of time. I'm just here for the fun and the escapism. But this definitely will not be my last 24-hour reading challenge. I feel like that is the perfect amount of hours to try to get in and read. I didn't do it on this trip, but maybe I can accomplish that soon. And you know how you find out? You subscribe and you come back for the next reading video. I'm already editing it right now. And so I'll see you then. Bye.